If you run, the beast catches you. And if you stay, the beast eats you. Welcome back to another episode of Cue the Curtain. Let's discuss the movie City of God. Now, admittedly, when I started this series, I said that we were going to focus on plays and musicals, and that's still true. But just last week, I saw this movie, and man, once I watched it, I knew that I wanted to talk about it. Shout out to the Mallory Bros because I am an avid listener of their podcast. They're twin brothers based here in the DMV, and they were talking about the top 100 movies that Empire Magazine, I believe it was, just published top 100 movies of all time. And City of God is one of those movies that no matter who publishes it, Variety, IMDb, City of God is always one of those movies that is on the list. Top movies of all time, top foreign films. So, in the way that they were talking about it, I'm like, okay, so what's so good about this movie? And I watched it, and I can honestly say I totally get it. Okay, I totally get it. This movie was released back in 2002, so I'm a little late to the game, a lot of late to the game, but I'm a firm believer once a movie is good, it's good forever. And, City of God is just that 23 years later. It's really a great film. Um, this movie was directed by Fernando Mireles and Katia Loon, and I'll take you through the movie. I won't. I'll try not to give you again not too many spoilers because I really want you to go watch it. But we'll walk through the characters, the direction of the movie, the theme, at least how I've interpreted it. And I really want your feedback. I want you to go watch it and tell me what you think. So the movie opens up with Rocket. Rocket is our narrator. And essentially, City of God is this favela off the beaten path in Rio de Janeiro. So it's isolated from the white sands and the crystal waters. It's a city, a small village that is plagued with violence and poverty, a lack of resources, a lack of infrastructure. There's very little, electricity, running water. Majority of the residents in this favela, they work on the barter system, and it's really it starts out as a village that's plagued with like petty crimes, right? So if someone is hurt, it's out of jealousy, it's out of, a bitter romance. With people steal, it starts out with the Tender Trio. Rocket's older brother, Goose, is like the leader of the Tender Trio. And they start out, they steal from the gasoline man, they steal from the tourists that are, staying in Brazil, things like that. And they give back to the community. So when for example, when they stole from the gasoline truck, they called out everybody, hey, come on, come get some gasoline. So it was kind of like a Robin Hood kind of thing. I mean, not that they were doing it for their own gain, but they did share. And so that's how it starts out. But then what you find is that it slowly but surely, the violence that emanates through the village, it grows more relentless and bloodthirsty. It quickly escalates into drugs and guns, sex trafficking, and the like. One of the pinnacle characters in this story is Little Zay. Now, Little Zay is a sociopath, hard stop. He starts out as kind of like the youngin that was rolling with the Tender Trio, and but you quickly find out that he is a sociopath. He kills for pleasure. He kills for control. He leads with violence so that you can bend to his will. And he is one of the reasons. Honestly, what I find about so interesting about his character is not just his murder, his bloodthirst, and his callousness. He is the human form of City of God. I think he doesn't have a code. His code is you do what I say or I'll kill you. And really, I'll just kill you so you can get out of my way. And that's really the City of God. When Little Zay is in charge, because he's so bloodthirsty, there's a period of peace in the village. There's not a lot of a lot of robberies. There's not a lot of killings unless he's doing it because everybody fears him. So for a period of time, it's actually pretty peaceful. But again, he had to use so much visceral violence in order to achieve that. Little Zay essentially starts a gang war with Knockout Ned. He assaults his girlfriend, and so they essentially create two gangs that are really just decimating the village. And so you see, it's a series of scenes where one person will go to Little Zay and say, "Oh, Knockout Ned, one of his people, robbed my mom. I'm going to join your gang." And then another guy comes to Knockout Ned. "Oh, Little Zay, he beat up my sister, so I'm going to join your gang." And it's just back and forth, very much an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And so at the end, literally everybody is blind and toothless. And in the end of the movie, spoiler alert, one of the main characters is killed by a group of children. And literally, right after that group kills him, shoots him, they walk around talking about, okay, who else could we kill? Oh, so and so owes me money. I'm going to kill him. Or so and so ran me out of his shop. We're going to kill him next. And then one of them say, "Oh, who knows how to write? So we can write all of these names down." And then one of the other children say, "Oh, I know how to write a little bit. I can do it." And it's like, wow, like these are children with guns that are creating this kill list, and they don't even know how to read and write. This lack of appreciation for life. And if you have the children talking like that, and they of course will eventually become adults, and so on and so forth. And so the lack of education, again, the poverty, the lack of infrastructure and resources, all of those things tied in create this cesspool of violence. And what I found very interesting about this movie is the cycle of violence that they show all throughout the film. This cycle of violence is really everybody is complicit in their own way. Whether you're a shopkeeper that works with the gang leader so that your shop can be protected, whether you're the gang leader or a gang member, and even if you are, just a resident, obviously the city is plagued by violence. So you might be operating out of a space of fear, minding your own business so you don't get caught up in anything. Or you're a girlfriend of one of the gang members. So everybody is really complicit in the violence that takes place, including the political officials. Honestly, the city of God, this village is, again, they're completely isolated, right? So even the political leaders, the government, they allow these people to really kind of run on their own devices. Even at one point in the movie, the gangs are, pull guns on each other. The police pull up and they say, "You know what, y'all are going to kill each other anyway, let's just go." And the police leave and just leave them to their own bloodshed. There's no one coming to save them. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows what happens over there, but nobody cares enough, or maybe has the courage enough to do anything, the wherewithal enough to do something about it. It's a greater comment on the world that we live in now. There's a lot of war and turmoil outside of the US that we are insulated from and that we're isolated from. And so we're complicit in that too. We have a lot of resources in this country, but we don't do what it needs. We don't do maybe all that we could be doing to help. We, look at it and maybe read about it for entertainment purposes, educational purposes, but that's mostly where it stops and starts. One of the other themes in this movie is that the city of God, this favela, is inescapable. Every time there is someone who gets close to getting out, they're either killed or their plans are thwarted in some way. It's very difficult to get out of this village. It's really nearly impossible. And one of the characters, Rocket, that is our main character, the narrator, you can you can argue that he makes it out, but even so, again, everybody being complicit, he becomes a photographer for a newspaper that wants to highlight this story of turmoil and poverty that's going on in the city of God. And so they hire him because, of course, he lives there. So he has an in that the rest of the newspaper staff doesn't have. And that's his way out. He has to exploit the residents, exploit the gang leaders and stuff. So he's really not doing anything to improve their situation, nor is the newspaper. They're just doing it for entertainment and readership and the like. So he has to exploit his own people, his own village, in order to make it out. But even then, he didn't make it out clean. There is a community there, though. I don't want to make it seem like it was just violence, even though that was like 99.89% of it, because it was. But there is a community there, and you can tell that there's absolutely, definitely, good people there. But at the end of the day, there's good people all, throughout this world. But people they have to play the cards they're dealt. At the end of the day, I don't think that anybody is born evil. Not even Little Zay, even though I think he was close. But nobody's born evil. They're not born, with a lack of integrity or having this bloodthirst. I think that this favela, the city of God, that's what it is. That's what it is. And either you kind of get with the program so that you can survive, or you're killed. Um, I would say that it was the casting was incredible. The casting was incredible because not only did the movie follows the different characters over time, right? And really the favela is a character in itself, and it grows again over time and evolves over time. And the casting, I think, was incredible, from the younger version of the characters to the older version. It really looked like those people grew up. You know what I mean? So I thought the casting was incredible. The story, as I just described it, really it captures you. Now, this movie is 2 hours plus. So you're gonna be sitting there for a while. But honestly, it was only a couple of moments in the movie where I was like, damn, I've been sitting here for a while. It's not because it was like a lull in the story. It was just because I noticed it. But it really captures you from beginning to end. Like, it really doesn't feel like it's that long. In the cinematography, the way that they showed the evolution of all the characters in the village, they go back and forth in time. And so it really reminds you of a documentary. You'll forget that it's like a movie, because you couldn't tell me that they just didn't set up a camera, on a tripod and then just got out of there. Like, it really felt like you have a look into everybody's point of view and perspective. And so I thought that form of direction was really great. It's like you're watching a documentary. To wrap up, I really enjoyed this movie, City of God. Again, it showed me how we can all be complicit when it comes to violence in communities that are impoverished and lack resources. Again, that cyclical nature of violence, it's not just that the violence gets worse as the movie gets on, it gets more cutthroat, really more powerful. The power of violence in this movie is really palpable. It showed how the people in those communities, what they do, and how they survive. And it's not that they don't want to leave, because people say that all the time. Oh, well, why don't you just leave your community, or why don't you know what I mean, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, that kind of thing. And it really is, it's easier said than done. And it's easy to say when outside of that community, in the suburbs or on the white beaches. It's easy to say that. But you see time and time again in the movie that people did try to leave, they did try to go somewhere and live on a farm or something like that. But again, the beast caught them, the beast ate them. So it really does give you a lot to think about. I really do encourage you to go watch City of God. I watched it on Prime, and I'm pretty sure it didn't cost anything. I can't remember which of the channels it was on, but definitely look it up on Prime TV. Thanks again for watching another episode of Cue the Curtain. Come back next Thursday for another one. We got plays we're going to, musicals. I'm going out of town at the end of the month. I'm going to see if I can see a play out there so we can do a little out of town episode. So yeah, I'm really excited for this page and what it will become. Please comment your suggestions. If there's any movies, musicals, plays that I should be tapped into, let me know. Thanks again for watching. Bye.